Greetings, greetings, greetings. Uh-oh, what's going on? There we go. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Or should I say Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Greetings, everyone. Today is December 6th, 2025. That's December 6th, 2025. And this is the Sabbath day, which is the Sabbath assembly of the righteous. This is where we come together as being righteous under the Creator's word and keeping his laws. Today is the Sabbath day, which is the seventh day of the week. It's the day that he told us to come together and have a holy convocation, which is what we're coming together to do, whether it's with you and your family or just us coming together as a group in his name, which is in his laws. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to start off with the prayer. We're going to go into the laws, which is the 10 commandments, which is in the Exodus chapter 20. Then right after that, we're going to go into the reason why we have prophets. And then we're going to go into today's conversation, excuse me, which is 2 Samuel. We just talked about that. Which is 2 Samuel chapter 14. 2 Samuel chapter 14 is what we're going into today. And don't forget, today again is December 6th, 2025. And let's get ready to start up with the prayer. Blessed be thou, Father of the universe, that bring forth all living creatures forth from the earth. Blessed be thou, Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Blessed be the Father of Israel. Blessed be the Father of 12 tribes of Israel. Thank you, Father, for all you've done, been doing, and plan to do. We ask you to keep giving us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, life, health, and strength, food, shelter, and clothing. Let us be happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and prosperous in all that we do. We ask you to keep leading and guiding us so we can help leading and guiding others in your knowledge, your word, your ruach, and your way. We also ask you, Father, to keep your arm protection around us and keep us in every way, and let us retain the knowledge you have given us through your vessel, through your word, and through your prophets. We ask you to help us in every way, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, financial, or spiritual. And all these things we pray. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you, Father. Father, praise you Almighty. All righty. So right now we're going to get started in the 10 commandments, which is actually in Exodus chapter 20. 20, starting at the first verse. Exodus 20:1 states, and Yah spake all these words. And Yah spake all these words, saying, I am Yah your father, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other deities, which is gods, before me. Verse 4, second commandment. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Excuse me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yah thy father, am a jealous father, visiting the iniquity, which is the ignorance of the fathers, which is the parents, upon the children, unto the third, which is the Greek, and the fourth, which is the Roman generation, unto them that generation of them that hate me. Excuse me. Yeah, we just said that. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Third commandment. Thou shalt not take the name of Yah thy father in vain, for Yah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath day to keep it hallowed, which is holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yah thy father. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yah made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. The fifth commandment, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which Yah thy father giveth thee. Sixth commandment. Excuse me. Thou shalt not murder. And though it says thou shalt not kill, it's really thou shalt not murder. Because when you murder someone, you're taking the life without a cause. Seventh commandment. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Meaning that no woman should not lay down with another man if she has a man that she's with, and no man should not be laying down with other men's women. That's just it. Eighth commandment. Thou shalt not steal. Ninth commandment. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, which attorneys, lawyers, and prosecutors do all the time. And 10th and last commandment, verse 17. Excuse me. Verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Thank you, Father. And then we're going into the reason why we have prophets, which is right after 17th verse, after the 10th commandment. In verse 18 it says, all the people saw the thundering and the lightnings and the mountain smoking, and when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not Yah speak with us, lest we die. That's what the people actually said. Verse 20. And Moses said unto the people, fear not, for Yah is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before you. Before your faces, I'm sorry. But his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. 21. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where Yah was. Here we go. I'm gonna have my glass cleaner up here. Oh, next best thing. My baby left this up here though. Also want to thank Joanne and my sister and brother, Sister Bev and my brother Cass for being online today. I didn't say anything coming in. But I'd like to thank them and my baby Joanne for being on at the moment. I did come in a little late, but I just try to get started, jump right into the queue so we can get started on point. Still. So let's see how this do. Does this look a little better? We probably need some thicker paper. Yeah, I feel that looks a little better. All right. So as we just got through from 18 to 21 in Exodus chapter 21, which is actually understanding when the people got scared, they stood afar off. And here in Deuteronomy chapter 18, starting at verse 15, it says, and Yah thy father will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren. Excuse me. Like unto thee, Moses. Unto him ye shall hearken, according to all that thou desire of Yah thy father in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Yah my father, neither let me see this great fire anymore, that I die not. Remember they just said that in verse 19 a few months ago in Exodus, right after the commandments. Then verse 17 here says, and Yah said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up. Excuse me. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I command him. 19. And it shall come to pass. It shall come to pass. That means it's prophecy. It shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which is people, this is what people fail to realize. He said, my words, which is the prophet shall speak in my name, thus says the Lord, I will require it of him. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, nor that shall speak in the name of other, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which Yah have not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of Yah, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yah have not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. All right. That's the end of the law that we're supposed to read every Sabbath, and the end of the reason why we have prophets, and who to be scared of and who not to be scared of. All right. So now, excuse me, y'all. Feel like I'm gonna go lay down some more. Right now, we're at today's information, however you want to call it. We're in chapter 14, 2 Samuel chapter 14. We're in 2 Samuel chapter 14. Got our other sister coming in from the UK. Leanna. I can't get it correct. I'll get it correct sooner or later. But we're in 2 Samuel chapter 14. And I would like to give a recap before we go into the next chapter. And what I'd like to recap on is this. That greetings, sis. Glad you can make it with us on this beautiful Sabbath day. Right here, if we do a recap on 2 Samuel chapter 13 of last week, this when Ammon raped, might as well say, Absalom's sister. Last week, this is what we read in 2 Samuel chapter 13. Ammon, which is actually her, I believe it was her cousin. Let me see. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, this is the beginning of 13, had a fair sister whose name was Tamar. And Ammon, the son of David, see, that was her, that was his sister. That was his sister from another mother. That was his sister from another mother. Tamar and Absalom was sister and brother. Ammon was the son of David as well, and he loved Tamar. So you had a slickster, which was a cousin, which was Jonadab. Say, but Ammon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother. So that was their cousin. And he told him how to go about getting her to get there with him. And that's when Ammon raped her, and then he hated her more than he thought he loved her because he was infatuated with her. So he took her virginity, then he put her out. So now, after this happened, Absalom had a feast, but he waited. He waited a few years. When was this? There was a point in here. It was 2 years later, I believe it was. Let me see what it was over here. Okay, here in 22, in 2 Samuel 13, 21 and 22, it says, But when King David heard of all these things, 21, heard of all these things, he was very wroth. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon, neither good or bad, for Absalom hated Amnon because he had forced his sister Tamar, which he raped her. And it came to pass after 2 full years that Absalom had a sheep shearers and in Baal Hazor, which is beside Ephraim, and Absalom invited all the king's sons. So what Absalom did, excuse me, y'all. What Absalom did is, after 2 years after the situation, knowing what his other brother did, what his brother did, he didn't say nothing good or bad to him. He just talked to him like nothing happened. And 2 years later, he set up a feast, and he ended up killing Amnon. He killed Amnon, and David thought he killed all his siblings, but he didn't. Absalom didn't. So now, this is where we at. Now we're in chapter 14, 2 Samuel chapter 14. This is where we at, and I'm calling this Absalom's return, because at the end of this, in verse 36 through 39, in 36 says, and it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of speaking, that behold, the king's sons came and lifted up their voice and wept. And the king also, and all his servants wept very sore. 37. But Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. And David mourned for his son every day. He mourned for Absalom every day. 38. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. 39, last verse. And the soul of King David longed to go forth to Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Amnon, seeing he was dead. He was comforted concerning Amnon, seeing he was dead. So David knew the situation. David knew what happened. Ended up knowing that Amnon was dead, but he probably understood why Absalom did what he did. I'm saying probably understood. Can't speak for him. That's just my point of view. Now, 2 Samuel chapter 14. Joab's scheme for Absalom's return. This is Joab's schemes for Absalom's return. That's my heading on this. But we'll start it like this. Now, Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that the king's heart was towards Absalom. He perceived that the king's heart was towards Absalom. And Joab sent to Tekoa, and fetched thence a wise woman, and said unto her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner. Feign thyself to be a mourner, and put on now mourning apparel, and anoint not thyself with oil, but be as a woman that have a long time mourned for her dead. Okay. Gotta look at this. You gotta see the keys on certain things. And Joab sent to Tekoa and fetched thence a wise woman. See, a wise woman, and said unto her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner, and put on now mourning apparel, and anoint not thyself. You see, it say, don't anoint yourself. So we was anointed all the time. That's the reason why a lot of our women like to be glowing. I've just seen the stuff that what's her name, Rihanna have. Rihanna got some stuff that say some stuff folks feel good, smell good. They start putting their skin to have stuff to glow. A lot of our women and a lot of us, I see we anointed ourselves a lot at one time. And this is why we put oil on. And it's just a part of our culture, it's part of our nature. Right? Anoint not thyself with oil, but be as a woman that had a long time mourned for the dead. 3. And come not to the king, and come to the king and speak on this matter unto him. So Joab put the words in her mouth. You see that? So this is what he did. Now you know something? You would think Joab loved David. And it was one point a couple of chapters back when right after Joab had David had Joab kill Uriah. Joab was taking the city, and as Joab was taking the city, he said he could call home to David. He told David, now you come and take the city, or they're gonna call the city after my name. So it seemed Joab had respect for David. You got to understand stories. That's the reason why we go through this, to understand the stories, not only for the history of the stories in that time, but for the things that's going on today as well. But if you look at what happened, he had respect for David. David was the king. He had respect for him, from what I see. And right here, what he's doing is he's seeing that that he perceived. It said, now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that king's heart was towards Absalom. So he seen that his heart was toward him, that he was mourning for him. That's why he had this woman do this. Verse 4, and put the words in her mouth. Verse 4, and when the woman of Tekoa spake unto King David, unto the king, she fell on her face to the ground, and did abstinence. Repent for 9 abstinence. Obstinate, that right there. That word right there, what I woke up saying. And did abstinence and said, my queen. Oh, excuse me, y'all. It's around here somewhere. My green highlighter. This one did. There you go, right there. Still stuck in 2 Timothy, chapter 3. Abstinence. And he puts the words in her mouth. Keys. I like hitting keys. You know what I'm saying? Just in case I have to come back. And said, help, O king. 4 again. And when the woman of Tekoa spake unto the king, she, matter of fact, let me get these places. I'm on way. I'm slipping today. And Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived the king was okay. Joab sent to Tekoa. All right, just make sure I get some of these places. I like to get these places because you never know what'll come up, and the reason why has come back and hit me right in the face. Spake to the king, and she fell on her face to the ground and did obstinance and said, help, O king. And the king said unto her, what? We'll say, what aileth thee? What aileth thee? My quick grandmother used to say that. What aileth you, boy? What aileth? What aileth? What aileth thee? What's wrong with you? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and mine husband is dead. And thy handmaid had 2 sons, and they 2 strove together in the field, and there was none to part them. But the one smote the other and slew him. Man. And behold, the whole family is risen against thine handmaid. And they said, deliver him. And they said, deliver him that smote his brother, that we may kill him, for the life of his brother whom he slew. And we will destroy her. We destroy the heir also. And so they shall quench my coal which is left. So they shall quench my coal which is left, and shall not leave to my husband neither name nor remainder upon the earth. Trying to see what he gave her to say. All this is what she's saying. from Joab. And the king said unto the woman, Go to thine house, and I will give charge concerning thee. And the woman of Tekoa said unto the king, My lord, O king, the iniquity be on me, and on my father's house. Excuse me, y'all. And the king and his throne be guiltless. And the king said, Whosoever saith aught unto thee, bring him to me, and he shall not touch thee any more. Let me get this together. Let me try to put these words together, y'all. I gotta make sure I say this right. Excuse me. Verse 8. And the king said unto the woman, Go to thine house, and I will give charge concerning thee. I will give charge concerning you. 9. And the woman of Tekoa said unto the king, My lord, O king, the iniquity be on me, and on my father's house, and the king's and his throne be guiltless. Verse 10. And the king said, Whosoever saith aught unto thee, bring him to me, and he shall not touch thee any more. 11. Then said she, I pray thee, let the king remember the Lord, remember Yah thy father, that thou wouldest not suffer the revengers of blood to destroy any more. The revengers of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, As Yah liveth, there shall not be one hair of thy son fall to the earth. Okay. 12. Then the woman said, Let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak one word unto my lord the king. And he said, Say on. And the woman said, Wherefore then hast thou aught such a thing against the people of Yah? For the king doeth speak of this thing as one which is faulty, in that the king doeth not fetch home again his banished. Okay. This the setup. This is what Joab did. 12 again. Then the woman said, Let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak one word unto my lord, the king. And he said, Say on. And the woman said, Wherefore then hast thou aught such thing against the people of Yah? For the king doeth speak this thing as one which is faulty. You are like you in fault. In that the king doeth not fetch home again his banished. Let me ask y'all a question for y'all who've been following me and been reading along with me. Let me go ahead and mark this down right now. This right here is the key. And the woman said again, Wherefore hast thou, this 13. This is the key. I'm putting my key in green. I should have it in blue. Thou such thing against the people of Yah. For the king doeth speak unto. I'm going to share with you while I'm sharing this in a few seconds. See, when you follow the stories, you can see what's going on and understand. See, even at the beginning of here, at the end of 13, when it says, And the soul of King David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Amnon, seeing he was dead. He was comforted because of that, right? But he felt sorry. And then right here in verse 1 of 14, now Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that the king's heart was toward Absalom. The whole thing on this whole situation at verse 13 right here. And the woman said, wherefore then hast thou thought such a thing against the people of Yah? For the king doeth speak this thing as one which is faulty. You speak this as you at fault. In the king's say, in that the king doeth not fetch him home, fetch again his home, fetch home again his banish. For we must needs die and are as water split on the ground, which cannot be gathered up. Mainly what's going on, Joab recognizing you ain't doing your thing as a king. You sit up here acting sorry and whatever because Absalom had killed his brother and he ran. You feeling sorry for him. But see, you got to remember, when the punishment, as I shared a couple of weeks ago, the punishment of the prophecy of the punishment of David. On the prophecy of the punishment of David, after David had Uriah's wife, he took his wife, number one. He had her brought to him. He hadn't committed a sin yet. First, I'm going to lay this out. He saw Bathsheba, saw her bathing naked. Fine. Whatever. She was fine, had a bad body, whatever. She was fine to look upon, and he lusted after her at that point. He didn't sin. He had them to go get her. Had some people go get her and say, King David would like to see you. She came to see the king. He didn't sin. The sin was when he laid with her because he knew she was a man's woman. The act is what I keep trying to share with everyone. The act was the sin. It wasn't if you think on a woman and have there's lust in your mind, you've already sinned. That's not a sin. A sin is the action. You have to do something to sin. No different, as I shared once before, when you do a crime, it's an action. The stuff they're doing today is false and it's fraud. They're doing out here to people in the streets, giving people tickets and citations that hasn't hurt no one, harmed no one, or damaged anyone's property. That's fraud. When you hurt someone, harm someone, or damage someone's property, that's a crime. No different than here. When David laid with Bathsheba, that was the crime. That was the crime because, number one, he committed idolatry, which is adultery. Then he sent her home. I'm giving you the story to understand the reason why, for people who may not know where we're at right now and the understanding. He sent her home. She found out she was pregnant while Uriah out there battling in the field because of the Philistines it was the Amalekites at the time, I believe it was. It was either one of the two. But the point is, he had Joab to bring Uriah home. Uriah had to come to see him. Uriah came to see him. They had a conversation. He befriended him, like some people do. He befriended him, didn't try to send him home. He didn't go home. He stayed right there in David's chambers in the castle with his people. David found out he didn't go home. Had him come back up, got him drunk and everything next day. Tried to send him home again. He didn't go home again. So now he wrote a letter out to him. Okay, take this to Joab. And he took the letter to Joab. Now, Joab's still in the dark. A lot of people think Joab was a part of this. Joab's in the dark. He just knew that he got a letter that put him in the line, that he died. He said, okay. I mean, put him in the front line, so he put him up in the front line to where, he ended up dying. I ain't going to say on his part, but he ended up dying. Then Joab sent the letter back, let him know what happened and what's going on with the situation at hand. That happened. Now, David got rid of him. The wife mourned after she found out her husband died. After her mourning, which was a process of time, he took her in to be his wife. He took a man's woman in to be his wife. That was after the process of time. Now, after that, we don't know if the baby came or not at this time. But the point is, after this time, Nathan came and gave David a prophecy and told him The prophecy, which was in, I think it was in 11, 12. Yeah, in 12. Chapter 12, Nathan gave him the prophecy of what he did undercover. No different than this right here, the way Joab tried to do. But see, David already up on what was going on, because he didn't heard, or this almost sounded like what Nathan told him, almost. So now, excuse me, I was leaning a little hot. So now, he got a prophecy. Now, the reason why David is feeling this way, because it's still in David's mind. Anybody know when you get something from the Father, cut this back on a little bit. Man, that cold just started coming on me like up here where I'm at. So so now David is, you got to understand, when the Father gives you something, it's gonna stay on your mind. That's how you know that you are the Father. A lot of people, the voice of consciousness that has left them because they don't listen. The voice of consciousness, if y'all know what I'm talking about, the voice of reason. When the conscious when you think about doing one thing, your conscience or your voice or the spirit within you tell you one thing and you go against it. I've done it a few times, not proud of it, but I've done it a few times. Just, I did this because the same thing, but it wasn't loud. It was just like in my intuition. Sure, I should go ahead and put some gloves on, but no, I'm going and try. I'm talking to myself. Well, I'll go ahead and do this real quick. Cut my tendon. Why? Because I didn't listen to myself to put gloves on in that split moment. It didn't say it loud, but just intuition, like, man, I should probably put some gloves on. But I didn't think about putting gloves on. It taught me to do better. But same situation at this point. Same situation at this point. It's on David's mind now. So now he feels guilty that Absalom is gone, because it's still a part of his prophecy that was told to him about his punishment. His punishment. The situation with this happened, I believe, is because of his punishment. Now, whatever Amnon did to love her like he did, or infatuate with her for him to take her, and then for all this to start up, it's because of the, and you have to have a start of everything. That's why I try to get people to understand. There's a cause to an effect. Every effect has a cause, and every cause has an effect. There's a beginning to it for a reason. And that reason was because of the Creator told David, from this point, I ain't gonna say it the way, because Nathan once said it correctly. I don't know if he said it correctly, if I might say it correctly or not. I don't want to say it wrong. But I think he's supposed to have problems. War. I ain't gonna say wars, but he said he's gonna have wars or something like that. He said, now therefore the sword, there you go, right here, verse 10. 2 Samuel 12 and 10, it says, now therefore shall the sword, now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house. You see that? There you go, right there. Now, this is the Creator talking to David. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus said Yah, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house. You see that? That's verse 11. And I will take thy wives before thee, before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of the sun, for thou didst secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before all the sun. That right there goes to show you that I don't care how close and how special you think you are, you will still get whooped by the Creator. If you wrong, you get whooped. And people don't realize that. People do not realize that. If you wrong, you're going to get whooped. He don't have no favorites. But people don't realize that. But now let's get back to the story. And that's what's going on in his household. So he know, whether he knew that Amnon, whether David knew that if Amnon raped Tamar, if he raped her or not, something went on, and Absalom killed him. Whatever. I don't know if David probably know, but he might not know. Who knows? But the point is, he longed for Absalom because he knew it was his fault that this situation happened. That's the point. Be accountable. That's why. But see, nobody knew. See, David was holding in. Joab even didn't know. All Joab knew is that he put Uriah on the line. A lot of people probably think Joab knew that David took it upset with his wife. He didn't know that. Joab didn't. The only one that knew that David slept with his wife was the ones that probably went and got her, the servants that went and got her, if they knew, and the Creator. Only David, the servants, and her knew. Now, when she got pregnant, only her and David knew. Or she and the one that sent word, however he got, whoever sent the word between them two, or however the word got back to David when she got pregnant, only them two knew. Them three knew, shall I say, besides the Creator. Only them three knew. So we got to understand the story as it is. When you see Joab, now he looking at David. He don't know David going through turmoil now because he had a man killed. He put a man in the front line where all Joab did what the king said do. Okay, he put him on the front line so he died. He probably knew that see, you got to understand the mind, and that's why I say I understand situations. Joab probably knew that, okay, he's a Hittite, or no, he was a Hittite. Joab probably knew he was a Hittite, no matter if he loved Israel or not. Put him on the front line that he died. Okay, whether he righteous or not, that ain't Joab's concern. Joab's concern is to do what the king said do. That's what a lot of these soldiers and stuff do today. If y'all notice that, whatever the commanding officer say, they got to do it. So all Joab knew was to put him on the front line, thinking, okay, he's a Hittite. You got to look at things at many different sides. And that's what I try to do. So you look at things at many different sides. I don't want to give no excuse, but I just look at things from different ways. That's all I'm saying. So now David gave him the authority to put Uriah on the front line so he can die. Plus, still give David the report of what's going on. Joab probably didn't know what was happening. All he knew, they put him on the front line because that was the letter that David gave him to give to him. Joab probably didn't know nothing about Bathsheba and the sex and her getting pregnant. Joab was out in the field. So now Joab up here wondering what's going on. You mourning for this guy that killed one of your sons, and see, Joab don't know. When you get further in the story, you're going to see something that Joab did to Absalom, still unaware, because everything isn't everybody's business. See what I'm saying? That's why things in the White House, even though Trump is trying to share, and I'm just giving you off the record, I give you understanding. Even though Trump is trying to share with the world what he's trying to do and give information, the people ain't ready. See, these bottom feeders not ready for it. They don't understand because they was hidden from the real information all the time because the ones in the political arena wasn't telling this to everybody. But what Trump is doing is what everybody's supposed to know, because Trump is supposed to be like the president, letting people know what's going on and giving you information. This is what Trump is actually doing. The people don't even understand it, because they have been tricked and hidden from the real information for so long. They think what the politician was doing was right, not knowing what the politician was doing behind closed doors. Queen Elizabeth and everybody else with all these pedophiles and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. You look at the scriptures, you can see the difference between the scriptures and what's going on today. So, as you can see, Joab didn't know nothing. Only David knew, and what he did back here. But Joab did what he knew by putting that man out there on the front line. Still, Joab probably was saying in his mind, well, he's a Hittite. King David said, we supposed to got rid of him anyway. Put him on the front line. He didn't kill him himself. He let him fight with Israel till he passed. But then the Creator punishing This is the start of David's punishment. I just gave you the clue in I think that was 12 and 10, 12, 10 and 11. 2 Samuel 12, verse 10 and 11, which is his punishment. It shall not depart from his house. This is the beginning, and David see what's going on. David see what's happening. That's why he's sitting back and he mourning, but he can't tell nobody. So he's eating it up. And if you look at it, David is eating this up on the inside. He can't tell nobody. He ain't really telling nobody about what he did or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Confess your faults one to another. Because when you hold it to yourself, it's going to eat you up. Sometimes you need somebody to confide in. And who knew how many friends David really had to talk to? The only person that he knew, which was the prophet that came to him to break it down and told him what happened. You did this. It's lonely at the top, as they say, huh? Verse 14. For we must needs die. Okay, let me start at 13 again. And the woman said, wherefore hast thou not and the woman said, wherefore then hast thou thought such a thing against the people of Yah? For the king doeth speak this thing as one which is faulty, in that the king doeth not fetch home his banished. Hit 12 too. Then the woman said, handmaid pray I speak one more word. Let me hit that too, so I can go into that. For we must needs die, and as water split on the ground, which cannot be gathered up. Meaning everything is being split up now. You're not paying attention to what's going on. The last part. For we must needs die, and are as water spit on the ground. Dang. Now you spit water on the ground. And for we must die, and are as water spit on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. Neither doeth Yah respect any person. See that? Bam. That's where they got that no respect of a person from. You see that? This is where they got that no respect of a person from. Neither doeth Yah. This is where they got this at in the New Testament. I'm going to put this in. Neither doeth Yah respect any person. God is no respecter of person. That's where this came from. I told you they get from the law and put in the New Testament. That's why the devil know the book too, which is the ones who wrote from it, who's not from. That's where they got that from. Neither doeth Yah respect any person, yet doeth he devise means that his banish be not expelled from him. Yet doeth he devise means that his banish be not expelled from him. 15. Now therefore that I am come to speak of this thing unto my Lord the king, it is because the people have made me afraid. And thy handmaid said, I will now speak unto the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his handmaid. For the king will hear to deliver his handmaid out of the hand of the man that would destroy me and my son together out of the inheritance of Yah. 17. Then thine handmaid said, the word of my lord the king shall now be comfortable. The word of my lord the king shall now be comfortable. For as an angel of Yah, so is my lord the king to discern good and bad. Therefore, Yah thy father will be with thee. So I got that earlier. Then thy handmaid said, the word which my lord the king shall now be comfortable, for as an angel of Yah, so is my lord the king, to discern good and bad. Therefore, Yah thy father will be with thee. Verse 18. Then the king answered and said unto the woman, hide not from me, I pray thee, the thing that I shall ask thee. And the woman said, let my lord the king now speak. Check this out. And the king said, is not the hand of Joab with thee in all this? See how he caught that? Is not the hand of Joab with thee in all this? And the woman answered and said, is as my lord liveth, my lord the king, none can turn to the right hand or to the left from aught that my lord the king has spoken. For thy servant Joab, he bade me, and he put all these words in my mouth of thine hand, in the mouth of thine handmaid, to fetch about this form from speech, that thy servant Joab done this thing. And my Lord is wise according to the wisdom of the angel of Yah, to know all things that are in the earth. So when he's saying is, you smart enough to you caught that quick. 18 again. Then the king answered and said unto the woman, hide not from me, I pray thee, that I shall ask thee. And the woman said, let my lord the king now speak. And the king said, is not the hand of Joab with thee in all this? He found all that out. And the woman answered and said, as thy soul liveth, my lord the king, none can turn to the right hand or to the left from aught that my lord the king hath spoken. For the servant of Joab, he bade me, and he put all these words in the mouth of thy handmaid, to fetch about this form of speech. To fetch about this form of speech. See, she don't even talk like that. He had put this in my mouth to talk like that. I don't talk like this. This form of speech. You see that? To fetch about this form of speech. Have thy servant Joab done this thing? And my Lord is wise concerning to the wisdom of an angel of Yah, to know all things that are in the earth. 21. And the king said unto Joab, behold, now I have done this thing. Go therefore, bring the young man Absalom again. So what he's saying is, okay, Joab, I see what I've done now. Go get him. Okay, now he come to a conclusion. Now he said, and the king said unto Joab, behold, now I have done this thing. Go therefore, bring the young man Absalom again. And Joab fell to the ground on his face and bowed himself and thanked the king. And Joab said, today thy servant knoweth that I have found grace in thy sight, my lord, O king, in that the king has fulfilled the request of his servant. Meaning, you fulfilled the request that I wanted you to do, but I had to have somebody come and do it, to bring to you to do it. 23. So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, let him turn to his own house and let him not see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house and saw not the king's face. You see that? He told him he longed for him, but look at the situation. He longed for him for 2 years. Wasn't it 2 years? In spirit, no, he was there 3 years. That's the end of 13 in the 38th verse. And Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. He was there 3 years. Let me make sure we get that. But the whole thing is, all that time while he was gone, David was mourning. Now, let me ask y'all something. Y'all know when the Creator whooped you, he whooped you for a minute, right? David was mourning for 3 years because of the situation. 2 years, that's 5 years. 2 years, Absalom planned the situation. Had them come for a feast. Killed the one who he was killing, who he was going after. Then he left and fled, and he stayed there for 3 years. David mourning for 3 years. Now Joab see what's going on, man. When the kingdom is separating, you on your son, and everything else is falling apart. You ain't holding things together as the king, because you worried about your son. Isn't that what people do today in many different ways? They let everything go about one of their children. And I'm not saying if Absalom was a bad boy. I don't think he was bad, because you never heard nothing up until this point. Until his sister got raped by his brother. You ain't heard nothing until up to that point, because this is the start of that situation. So before we go, does anybody want to share anything on this information before we go to part 2? I'm surprised my brother Kaz ain't got nothing to say. So other than that, we go ahead and pause part 1 and get ready to head to part 2, since we just know and have an understanding of what happened at this point. So other than that, I just want to share with you that I am that Mikael in Daniel chapter 12, verses 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's me. Showing the holy people who we're really supposed to be. Waking them out of their dead beds, which is really in their heads. For all of you who's living in the new, this is for you. I'm that same Mikael in Revelations 12, battling that red dragon where Satan dwells, who deceiveth the whole world but prevaileth not. Cause the horn is blown without a doubt. This is prophesied for you to see that Mikael is really me. Other than that, I'd like to thank everybody for your time, your patience, your listening ear, your seeing eye. We're going to pause Zoom since we're the longest. We're going to pause you Zoom, and we'll be right back with Joanne, Beverly, and my other sister. I want to make sure I get the name right, though. Lelania. I hope I said that right. Other than that, we'll be right back with part 2. See you in a few moments, Zoom. And peace. Recording stopped. All right. And for everybody else, if you'd like to get in contact with me, you always call or text me at 770-572-5315. That's 770-572-5315. Or you can always email me at LKHYYM. That's LKHYYM, at gmail.com. LKHYYM at gmail.com. Okay, get this set. Now, if you'd like to connect on the any of the broadcasts that we're on, you can see part 1 and part 2 on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. That's part 1 and part 2 on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. My YouTube is JuicePro33. That YouTube is JUICEPRO33. You can see part 1 and part 2 on live on YouTube. Live on YouTube at JuicePro33, which is JUICEPRO33. Excuse me. You also see part 1 and part 2 on Instagram. My Instagram is L'chaim_the juice, which is spelled LKHYYM underscore THEJUICE. That's LKHYYM underscore THEJUICE. All right. You can also see part 1 and part 2 on Facebook. On Facebook is Michael, or should I say Mikael Harris, which is MI_CHAEL space HARRIS. Excuse me. Excuse me. That's MI_CHAEL space HARRIS. Now, okay. Okay, well, it got levels to it. You can also catch me on Instagram, part 1 and part 2. Instagram part 1 and part 2 is, like I said, L'chaim_the juice, which is LKHYYM underscore THEJUICE. That's LKHYYM underscore THEJUICE. And also Facebook, which I believe I just got to, which is MI_CHAEL space HARRIS. Again, which is MI_CHAEL space HARRIS. Now, if you want to see the full Zoom, you'll find the full Zoom on YouTube as well under Juice Pro 33. That's JUICEPRO33 under video. That's Juice Pro 33, which is JUICEPRO33, which is the video, under video on YouTube. You can also see us on X, formerly known as Twitter. That's X, formerly known as Twitter. That's Juice Pro 33 as well, which is JUICEPRO33. Again, JUICEPRO33. Excuse me. And also, you can catch us on rumble.com. That's rumble.com/LKHYYM. Rumble.com/LKHYYM for the full video. And also patreon.com/LKHYYM. Patreon/LKHYYM. Patreon.com. All those are for the full videos. And if you're interested on checking us out on TikTok, my TikTok is the same as one of them. It's the same as Instagram, which is putting the @ in the search engine, LKHYYM underscore THEJUI. Excuse me. JUICE. Again, that's LKHYYM underscore THEJUICE. And last but not least, my other TikTok, which is Michael the Juice Harris. Also, I have a YouTube, Michael the Juice Harris, too. You can pull that up. Michael the Juice Harris, put that in the search engine. That's just another one that I'm building on. But again, my TikTok is @ in the search engine, MICHAELTHEJUICEHARRIS. All right. So we're going to pause it right here or say bye. I paused it for Zoom, but we're going to say bye to everybody for the end of part 1. We'll be right back with part 2. So first thing, we're going to say bye to Instagram. I thank you for your time, your patience. I think this is it's Facebook. So we'll say bye to you, Facebook. Thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate, love you. See you soon. We'll be right back. Peace. Slow connection. I guess we'll get you in a few moments then. And also over here on Instagram, which we're going to start off with first. I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Heck Vision. Got Heck Vision. My boy the Hectic was on for a quick second. Who the Hunt Kit? Who the Hunt Kit? And also the Swaggertons. The Swaggertons. These all was on here for a few moments. Thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate, love you, and always. Peace. Alrighty. All right. And over here on YouTube Live. I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. We'll be right back with part 2 of The Return of Absalom. Peace.